Well, welcome everyone to our Tuesday chat. It is June 30th, actually, last day of the month, and we have been having Tuesday chats for several months now, just interviewing different people from the community and about different services, supports, parent groups, self-advocates. Anyone who's interested in being a guest on a Tuesday chat, please just let me know. My name is Sonia Bingaman, and I'm the Regional Manager of the Sacramento Office for the State Council on Developmental Disabilities. The State Council is a federally funded agency that does capacity building, systemic change. We do a lot of information sharing, trainings for families and self-advocates, reaching into the community, seeing what barriers are happening in the community that are preventing people from accessing services, trying to see what maybe the challenges are and proposing legislation to try to fix those challenges. So we get our fingers in a lot of things. And we've been happy to be able to use the Zoom format to host these weekly discussions and chats and just learn more about services in an informal way. Our office, we have 12 offices around the state, but our Sacramento office is me and Kathy. I'll let Kathy introduce herself.
Hi there, great to see everyone. My name is Kathy Bryan and I work alongside Sonia. There's two of us.
Yeah, so Kathy and I are quite interchangeable. You'll see us both at a lot of meetings and collaboratives and doing different things around the community. Kathy's going to be helping with monitoring the chat box. So if you have a question or you have a problem with the Zoom call, post that in the chat box. You are welcome to not be on mute if you want to, if it's easier just to stay off of mute, so that when you have a question you can ask. If you want to stay on mute, that's fine. If you're willing to be have your video showing so we can all kind of be seeing each other, that's great. It makes it more personal. So I wanted to get back to our discussion for today. The State Council promotes full inclusion in the community as well as employment first. There is an employment first policy that the State Council has been a long backer of and supporter of, and we host a statewide employment first committee that meets several times a year, focusing on monitoring and promoting competitive integrated employment in the community statewide, as well as reporting to the legislature on how progress is going on individuals getting hired in the community. So that's one role that the State Council has. Many of you might not have heard of Employment First, but that is a policy that individuals should be given first the opportunity and supports to pursue competitive integrated employment in the community if that's what they choose. So it should be a discussion that happens during transition and then later in adult time with their service coordinators, with their family, with their supports. So today we are going to be talking about employment in the community. And we are happy to have Caryl Balko as our main guest, but we also have a number of other guests that Caryl has invited, so I'm excited about having them be part of this discussion. We will be recording this and it will be on YouTube, so after a couple days it'll be there for you to see or to share out with anyone else. Also, all of our previous Zoom chats are also recorded and are available on YouTube. So I wanted to go ahead and pass it off to Caryl to let her introduce herself, tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about supported employment and what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We do have a few guests that haven't been able to sign on. I know the job coach is still getting to working with them on signing on, and that would be a couple people that work out in the community that wanted to share their stories. So I've been a job developer, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about employment services for those of you that are interested in working in the community and might want to know a little bit about the process. So I'd first like to share that finding a job can be both challenging but very rewarding, as I'm sure you must know, especially now during this COVID-19 when there are a lot more rules that we have to follow than we used to. And those could be things like applying for more jobs online, even having interviews online, and orientations, and the process is just a little bit different than it has been, but we're working through it. So I want to kind of walk you through the process of how we get to work with somebody and assist them in finding a job. So the first thing is we do get a referral, and we get that from Ultra Regional or Department of Rehabilitation. And when we get that referral, we have information that shares a little bit about the person. And those are things like their job experience and work experience. What have they done before? Either in a job, volunteer work, workability, anything at all. We want to know a little bit about their work experience and also their education. Then we call and meet with this person, and we create together a vocational profile. Those are the types of jobs that the person might want to do, places they might want to work. Also a little bit about their hobbies, skills and abilities, what their strengths are, and also their growth areas. We always want to keep in mind 3 things. What can you do based on your current skills? Are these jobs available, the jobs that you want to do? And do you like this type of work? Can you see yourself doing it for a long period of time? That's also very important. You've heard people, you might have friends and relatives that say, oh, I gotta go to work on Monday. You certainly don't want to feel that way. You want to be excited about getting up and going to work. Do we get excited every single day? Maybe not, but you do want to have a job that really keeps your interest and that you can learn and grow with. So now I'm going to talk to those of you that are interested in working. And after we meet with you, we develop a plan together. How can we work together to help you reach your goal of working? What can we do and what to assist you, and what can you do? We call this job preparation or employment preparation. This can include learning how and where to look for work, filling out job applications, mostly on the computer, creating a resume, practicing interview skills, talking about how to present yourself positively to an employer, providing a good job reference for you, researching companies and the jobs that they're hiring for, looking at resumes and looking at job descriptions and seeing what job duties are included in that job you're applying for. Then we actually start applying for jobs together. That requires an individual to spend time each day on their job search. It's easily, you can spend 2 to 4 hours each day. You really do have to set aside time and want to do your job search. You can come to our office to do your job search. We encourage that. We have a really cool workstation that has a computer, a phone, job leads, and you can apply for jobs, keep track of those jobs. We have lots of organizational ways of keeping track of who you're applying for, what managers you're talking to. We can follow up with those places, the places that you've applied, and see if they're hiring, and also to help schedule interviews for you. We all know that you may not get hired for the first job you apply for, maybe not the second or third, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. And once you get that job, woohoo, that's exciting. We have a weekly job club at the place we work at our agency, and this is a class with a lot of job seekers. It's a place to learn about your job search with others that are also looking for jobs. We have a topic each week. We talk about interviewing, how to apply for jobs, again, how to present yourself in the best light possible for employers. We have a little icebreaker we do when you introduce yourself. And we model this similar to when an employer asks you, usually the first question, tell me about yourself. So you might introduce yourself and you might share five of your greatest skills and strengths, 5 great things about you and why they should hire you, why you might be a good employee. Sometimes we introduce ourselves and say, give us 2 skills that you have using the initials for your first and last name. Kind of fun, it's enjoyable, and you learn from each other. If you get an interview, we can go with you, introduce you to the employer. We can follow up with the employer and giving a really good job reference. A job reference would mean sharing with the employer how dedicated and motivated you are to work, maybe talking about, we work together, you come to Job Club each week and you're always prepared, on time, and really looking to go to work. Then you get the job offer. And now what after that? Well, we can assist with your hiring process, helping you fill out new hire paperwork if you'd like our assistance. We can attend orientations with you, as Skyler's going to share with his new job in a few minutes. We want to offer job coaching support. Well, what is job coaching support? A job coach is there to assist you during your training. We act as an extra sort of set of eyes and ears to help you when you're just learning your job. So if you think about a coach, a coach on a sports team is always going to be on the sidelines, and the players are out on the field playing the game. And if they're unsure of something, they go out to the coach, they ask him, strategize a little, and they go back in and play the game. Same with the job coach. We are not doing the job for you, but we're helping to support in your job in whatever way you need help. We might be taking notes, develop an easier way of doing a task if there's something that you're finding a little challenging. We can prioritize your job duties to make sure that you complete all your tasks within your scheduled work shift. After you've learned your job, after the first, say, 2 or 3 months, then maybe that job coach is there just for ongoing support. An example might be if you're having trouble with a certain task, you get a new manager, one of your coworkers, you're kind of not seeing eye to eye and you have to work together. Or maybe they change your job duties, and a job coach is always there to help with anything work related. We want you to be successful by developing some job retention strategies for you, how to keep your job. Because we all know when you keep a job, you get better hours, you get raises, sometimes you get promotions. That's what we're all striving for. Jobs are very, very competitive these days. As minimum wages continue to rise, employers are expecting their employees to do a lot more. So we just have to rise to that occasion too and be willing to do that. Again, as Skyler will share with you in just a little while. So the things, just real quick before I introduce some of the other speakers, some of the things we look for in being ready for work. So I'll list some of them. Workplace behavior. Do you have knowledge of professional workplace behavior, ability to get along with others, have a positive attitude? Like I said before, the ability not to complain about everything. You're paid to do a job and you go in and do the job. We don't want to hear complaints about everything. Save that for your friends and when you're at home. But when you go to work professionally, you should just walk in that door and be ready to go to work and focus on your own work. Do you have transportation? Whatever independent transportation you have, or ability or access to have transportation. It could be public transportation, you could drive a car, your family members are willing to drive you. We now have Uber and Lyft. Whatever ways you can get to work, you do have to have that transportation to be able to get to work every day. Hygiene, we all know about that. We've heard about that since the day we were born, every single one of us. Do you have the right grooming and hygiene? Do you bathe regularly? Your hair is combed, your clothes are clean. An employer is not going to tell you you have to take a shower. That's kind of back when you were 4 and 5 years old. We have to just know these things. We don't want to work next to somebody who kind of smells a little bit. Medical issues. Do you have knowledge of maybe some of your limitations? If you do take medication, do you know what it's for? Do you know if you have side effects? If you have seizures, knowing what to do and helping a job coach or even your manager, letting them in on what happens if you were to have a seizure. We would want to know that. Do you have flexibility? One of those things is open availability to offer an employer. An employer has a business to run. They're not going to work around your schedule. So you have to at least offer them a chunk of time or a window of time. So you can't go in and tell an employer, okay, I can work Tuesday from 3 to 5 and Wednesday from 1 to 4. Oh, and I can't work weekends. I like to spend time with my friends. That is not appropriate. An employer wants you to offer as much time as you can, because with that window, and if you say, I don't want to work weekends, your window closes a little bit, your window of availability. Oh, I can't work on Mondays. I have Special Olympics. Window closes a little more. What's the employer going to do? they're going to go find somebody with a bigger window of availability. Job search is number one. It should be the most important thing that you do. Independence, being able to make your own appointments, answer the phone, be professional on the phone in case an employer calls and asks you to go to an interview. Have the motivation to work. Is it your idea that you want to work? Or is maybe somebody saying, oh, you really need to go to work? It should be your idea. Do you have basic computer skills? I'm going to say most young people have much better computer skills than I will ever have. Do you know how to get on a computer, fill out a job application? At least have that knowledge. We would be happy to assist you, but to have the basic computer skills and phone skills you need. Knowledge of benefits. A lot of people receive SSI and you'll say, oh, I don't want to work a lot of hours because it might affect my SSI. That's okay, but that's something for you to work out with your ALTA counselor, your family, because we never want to share with an employer, oh, I can't work more hours than 20 because I'm on SSI. Again, that's kind of a personal thing, and your income has nothing to do with doing your work with an employer. Do you know your strengths and your growth areas? Your really good qualities, you should know every single good quality that you have and be able to share that with an employer, but also growth areas. Some people call them weaknesses. What are you not really good at? Because you'll want to work on improving that, or at least be honest with your employer and say, gosh, I really don't know how to do that, but I'm willing to learn. An example would be somebody working in a retail store that may never have used the cash register, but kind of sounds exciting in wanting to learn that. We have somebody that's going to speak to Heidi a little bit later and share her experience with wanting to be a cashier at her work. And then the last thing is to be realistic. Realistic would mean we all have dreams and goals. We all have future things that we want to do, but being realistic to start in an entry-level position and move up in that position. So coming to us and saying, I want to make $18 an hour and I want to be a firefighter is great if you have those skills and abilities to be able to do that. If not, you may want to start a little bit lower and work your way up with the company. Okay, so I would love to introduce you to a couple of people that we have on, and I'm so glad to see that all of our participants got on. The first one is Skyler. And Skyler, if you want to unmute yourself, we would love for you to share your new job at Kaiser and how you worked with Project Search to be able to get hired as a Kaiser employee.
Hello, good morning. I was in Project Search, and we do 3 internships, and we work around in the hospital and different departments. And my department that I mostly worked in was environmental services, which is the custodial part of the hospital. And I worked all 3 of my internships in that department. One of the things that I accomplished in that department was when I was working in ICU with one of my other coworkers, we had to wipe down the whole room and sanitize the whole room. Our managers have to score us for the bacteria in the room, and it has to be either 200 or below. And I basically wiped the whole thing myself. And when the manager swabbed it to score it, it came out to be a 1. And he's never seen a 1 ever in it over 10 years of him being at Kaiser.
Wow.
That's amazing, Skyler. You should be proud of that. And that's what we need these days, right? People who can really clean things.
Yeah.
You got a 1.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yes.
So is this a full-time job?
No, I'm going to be on call. So I think as I gain more seniority, I can ask for more shifts
Mhm.
as I go along.
Do you actually learn the job during your time at Project Search?
Yes, I learned the job as I was at Pride Church.
Okay. Would you like to introduce the coordinator of Project Search? Because I know she's going to share a little bit.
Sure. Her name is Sherry, and she was my teacher, and she was very helpful during that time. Taught me a lot of things.
Sherry, can you
Professional.
share with us a little bit about Project Search?
Sure, I can. So, Skyler, I'm so proud of you. What day do you start?
I start the 6th.
And you have a great team behind you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. Super good. So we're designed to be a 1-year school to work program. You can either be in school district, or we're also partnered with an adult agency. And we work on, Caryl, mainly the things you're talking about, right? We teach mobility, how to be flexible. Like poor Skyler, we put him through it, right, Sky? We had him
Yeah,
work Christmas and New Year's and different shifts, and he had to come from far. What was it, 1 light rail and 1 bus? Or
it
2 buses?
was 1 light rail and 1 bus, but I lived in Salt Sac, and I had to travel all the way to Arden.
And normally we don't even start until 8:30 in the morning in the classroom, and they wanted Skyler there at 7 a.m. So
Wow.
he really put in the efforts to get this job.
Wow.
Our
will-
interns work. Oh, go ahead, Sky.
Sorry, I woke up at 4 o'clock every day to catch a train to go to work, and I got to work about an hour early every day. But
Oh
that's
my
just
gosh.
but that's just how I had to do it because of the time. I learned how the time is with the trains and the buses. So I was like, well, I have to wake up at 4 in order to catch a train at 5 to get to work by 6:30.
That shows a lot of commitment, Skyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
usually work 3 different internships a year, but if we have someone in a department that's, looking like they would like to hire him, that's why Skyler stayed in that department all year. But now he starts at, what is it, Sky, $27 an hour?
Yes, $27
Not,
an hour.
not bad for a first job, but you did everything it took. So for our program, we only sign up once a year. So if anyone is interested, it's best to contact us around January. And we don't actually start. We usually start summer school, but due to COVID, we didn't do summer school this year. But we're ready to start up in August. So Skyler, you make us look so good, and I could not be more proud. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sherry, I just wanted to ask what ages, so if there are parents, I know there were some parents on the call, what ages do you serve and how do they access you or access Project Search?
Generally 18 to 25, either mainly through their Alta, or Laurel Ruff is our main place that we get students from, but we also go out to different high schools, and we want to keep growing that. So anyone that ever wants us to go speak, we can do that. I don't have all my information to give somebody right now.
That's all right.
So
We
far
can
as our
follow
phone
up.
number and all that.
Is that just
Okay.
Sacramento
It's
County for your project?
We are at Kaiser Morse, and on occasion we'll send someone to another Kaiser, but mainly Kaiser Morse. And we just finished our 13th year and my 5th year. And I just love it because we just work on exactly what Carol's talking about. And, the grooming, the being there on time, the being flexible, being in the hospital 20 hours a week, which, like, coming from school, that's a big difference because workability, you spend a few hours, but they actually work 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And then there's also class time where we're working on the resumes and the interviews and the everything. So
Great. Well, maybe we can have you on as a guest and we can get into more detail about Project Search at another Zoom chat. Thank you for being here.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Yeah, Heidi, if you want to unmute yourself, I would like to introduce Heidi. And Heidi, we've known for several years. Throughout her last job, she worked, and then she wanted a little bit different job, a little bit better job. She kept her last job for a couple years. Heidi has an excellent work ethic. And Heidi, if you want to share a little bit about your job at Smart and Final, what you do when you got your job, and anything else you'd like to share.
All right. I started at Smart and Final in October of last year, and I am a courtesy clerk. I do the go backs and the cart runs and stock and facing the products, and I'm working on passing my produce, which I know that already. I'm just waiting for them to get me into the class so I can take the test as a cashier. And right now, we're in the process of the Corona-19. We have to sanitize the carts and sanitize the door handles, the freezer handles, the bathrooms, the break rooms, and the equipment. There's all kinds of stuff. And it's been a lot of work, but I love my job. And Diane, my job coach, she comes to my job once a week and meets with me. And she's been working with me on remembering my produce, so when I do take my test, I can score 100%. And she's an awesome job coach that I have.
That's really nice. You shared with me that she made you some cards to remember the aisles.
Oh, she made me some cards for the aisles where the stuff goes back. It made it a lot easier. Now I'm remembering which aisles which, and then when somebody comes up to me and asks me, where is this at, and I tell them which aisle, I give them the number and they'll go and look for it. And then she made this card. It was with my produce with the codes, and I carry that and I practice on that. And yeah, now I got to get it to laminated so it'll stay nice.
That sounds great. Thank you, Heidi. And again, we're saving time at the end. Sonia had mentioned that we can share questions, any of you that have questions. I want to introduce Lorena. Lorena, if you would like to unmute yourself. Lorena came to us about a year ago, or a little over a year ago, because you're reaching a year with your job, with an employment goal of she really wanted to work in a movie theater or a gym. Can you tell us a little bit about your job and what you do, Lorena?
Of course. I work at Crunch Fitness, and my position at Crunch is a maintenance worker, and I take care of the facility by cleaning the machines to keeping the floors clean, and by making sure every member is happy and satisfied.
Well, I bet that's very challenging, being as you were closed for a little while due to the COVID restrictions.
Yes, we were closed during the COVID-19, and it was devastating that somehow that all the gyms of Crunch, of each facility that was owned by the owner, we were devastated by it because we couldn't get to work, and somehow we had all, I don't know. By the time we got when it reopened, we had to keep everything clean by keeping the members 6 feet apart with the machines, and hopefully, and now we're in the process of wearing masks, gloves, and making sure that we're keeping the facility clean, and hopefully at this point by the time it gets back to normal, it'll be just the same as usual. But at this point, we're getting used to it through this year, and it's kind of hard with this virus going around, and we're getting the process of it. We're working on it.
Thinking positively. That's cool. You shared with me a story about some members getting together, I think at Christmas time, and gave you a gift.
Yes, they gave me a Walmart gift card and Starbucks, because they kind of knew I like coffee, and they wanted to appreciate what I did at the facility, and they kind of knew, oh, you're doing a good job. You've been like keeping everything clean, and we respect what you have done to the facility, and you've done a fantastic job working at Crunch. And they love me, and they don't want me to leave, and but it was really appreciative for them to do that, because I never got a compliment like that before, and this was a good surprise out of it, that they appreciate what I do to the facility, and mostly they like it, and they respect for what I do, and keeping everything clean, and making sure no one gets sick, and mostly they like what I do. So
yeah, I want to add, that every time I went in to go see Lorena, a lot of the gym members and a lot of the regulars are the ones that kind of pitched in. A lot of the gentlemen who come into the gym all the time noticed what a big difference since Lorena has started. There's a huge difference. They can tell of that. She does an amazing job, and she deep cleans those machines like no other. And so they can tell, and they are so appreciative of how much cleaner it is since Lorena has started. So they wanted to give her a little present at Christmas time. We did make sure it was okay with her manager and everything. But yeah, every time I come in, they're like, she does an awesome job. She's great. So Lorena, you are an excellent worker. So, and it shows.
Thanks. Diana is both Lorena and Heidi's job coach. Do you want to share kind of what you do as a job coach, Diana?
I can do a little bit, yeah. So you touched on it, most of it, Caryl, but yeah, I just come in when they get a job. I am there for kind of more in the beginning and just making sure that they're learning everything. I'm kind of just their extra support, their encouragement. Both Lorena and Heidi are great workers. They're very independent, and so I just help as needed with things that they may need help with. Like Heidi would, I made her the flashcards to kind of help her practice memorizing things at home, and then Lorena, I just kind of help every once in a while with like paperwork or things on the computer, and then I'm there just their support, encouragement, making sure they're doing okay. I'm like the third person to talk to, if they want to, talk things out or help figure things out, talk to their managers for them if they want anything and everything. I am there for them job-wise. So.
Very nice. Well, I know you might have some questions. I just want to thank Elena's on the call, and Elena is the Department of Rehab counselor for both Lorena and Heidi. I want to thank Vanessa is on the call, Lorena's Alta counselor, and a huge thanks to Cindy Lee, I see is on the call, and she is our huge supporter of supported employment through Alta. She answers all our questions, and she's just our go-to person who knows a lot about supported employment and how we work with our Alta referrals. So thank all of you, and turn it back over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Caryl. That was great. And thank you to Skyler and Heidi and Lorena for sharing and being here and getting on the Zoom call. So thank you for sharing your stories about your work and challenges during COVID and getting back to work. That's great to hear. I wanted to turn it over to Kathy. Kathy, do we have any questions that have come into the chat that you wanted to share?
Yes, we did. And if people want to ask those directly, that's fine, or I can do that for you. Cindy Lee had a question. Cindy, did you want to ask that, or did you want me to? I'm scrolling to find it again.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for the recognition, and I am so appreciative of all the work that all of you, the job coaches and job developers are doing out there in such a trying time. And I am so proud of all the accomplishments from all of the individuals on here have achieved. So I just like to ask Caryl, how does Pride decide which of the Pride's program is best fit for the individuals? Because I know you have work activity program, you have supported employment groups, and also supported employment individual placement. So what process does Pride use to determine which is the best program to place the client into?
That's a great question. It really comes from a team effort, an individual meeting with the person that's interested in work and also their support team. Alta Counselor has a large part of that, family members, whoever's on the support team, to meet and discuss first the goal. Is the goal working in the community? Is the goal getting the skills and experience to get to work? Is the goal working with maybe a little bit of support before they're an actual individual employee like Skyler, Heidi, and Lorena, and they need a little bit of training? Good example would be Skyler, who went into the Project Search program. He had support there through Sherry and the people that she works with, that he got the work skills for about a year to really work on the job, get the skills, get the training, so he was able to be hired. So some people need a little bit of extra work before they get a job in the community. So that would come from a meeting with a support team and discussing what the final goal is and the steps to be able to get there. And the Pride team or whatever agency you go to, Alta Counselor and the person would be able to determine that together after a lot of discussion. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
Okay, and then there was another question. Pamela Haney, did you want to ask that, or I'm happy to help you out with that?
I can ask. I was just curious if Pride provides any benefits counseling or employment network services, or if you refer out, or kind of how, what's your mechanism for supporting people with making those earnings and benefits decisions?
Okay, so for an example would be if somebody were to be receiving SSI and they wanted to know how work and the income that they got from work would affect their SSI benefits, I think is probably what you're asking.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Pride does not. Department of Rehab, anybody that's connected with Department of Rehab, which are people working in the community, does have benefits counseling. It's completely free to you. But another good thing is Pride has just joined forces with Crossroads, and Crossroads Employment Agency, they do have benefits counselor with them. So we're looking forward to that partnership together with them, and then we would have benefits counselor. But everybody gets that opportunity through Department of Rehabilitation, because it is good to know before you go to work how those benefits might affect you. And I did share, we don't share that with an employer because your income is your income, but it is something you want to know, and your family or any of your support team might want to know before you start working. Thanks, Pamela.
Okay, and I think that was it with the questions. Oh, Lisa, did you have a question?
I just added something into the chat. I said Crossroads Diversified Services offers benefits counseling assistance. And if you call Disability Rights California and speak to Michael Thomas, he can help people with the ins and outs of Social Security and SSI and work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and that's a real specialty of understanding all the complexities of how income affects your SSI and your Medi-Cal and your benefits. So it's great that Pride is partnering with Crossroads, so they'll have that expertise in-house to help people to do that exploration before they go out and look for a job, so they know what they're looking for and how much they're planning to, how many hours a week they want to work, and how that will affect things positively. It's always a benefit to earn more money, but it sometimes makes things a little more complicated, so they have to understand that. Let's see, I just want to open it up so you don't have to type in your question. If you want to just go off mute and ask a question, we've got some time. So feel free to just take yourself off mute and ask any questions you want of Skyler, Lorena, or Heidi, or Diana, job coach, or Caryl. There's also the service coordinators on, and Cindy. So anyone who wants to answer a question.
I have a question of you, Lorena.
And what is the question?
When you got hired, didn't you get a free gym membership along with your paycheck?
I kind of did. Well, I actually did, but it was hard to fit. Well, I didn't. Well, I did. Well, it was very hard to figure out this whole membership, getting the membership. But I did, along with my paycheck. I don't know, Diane, if you can hear me, you can help me out here. I don't know where this is going, but
Yes. So yes, anyone who works for the gym usually gets a free membership if they're an employee. I think we were still having trouble trying to set it up. Every time we tried to catch her manager, it just wasn't working. So I don't know if you actually signed up yet or not, but she is able to do a gym membership. A lot of her coworkers and managers, you know, they work and then they work out afterwards or before and then get to start their shift. So yeah, it's a very good benefit to working at a gym. So
yeah.
That's cool.
Cindy. Hi, can I ask Caryl a question?
Sure.
So during COVID, what creative ways has Pride come up with to support individuals who are working?
So you mean people that are working in the community?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't working because of the close down. It just depended on if they were the essential workers. Heidi was lucky because she was in the grocery industry, so she just had to learn different ways of doing her job, of which we were there to help support and work with her manager. Just as Skyler would be working throughout this because he's going to be working at Kaiser. So anybody that we were job coaching that weren't able to work, if they needed help filing for unemployment, we were able to assist with that, or just make sure that we stayed in contact with the managers. So the people that weren't working, such as Lorena, were staying in contact with the managers, and we did also to make sure that we knew when they were opening back up and they would start working and what the schedule was, and also to go in when they did open back up to make sure if there were new procedures, especially safety and cleaning procedures like wearing masks and gloves and things like that, that we were there to kind of assist in that transition of learning new things. But we were there the whole time during the time that we were all kind of closed and staying at home. Thanks, Cindy.
You're welcome. So of all the clients that were furloughed due to COVID, do you have approximately how many are returning to work or have returned to work?
I think most all of our clients have returned to work, except for we have some in food service. Movie theater and food service are the two that I believe are not returning. Wendy and Jennifer, I know you're on the call too as job developers. Can you think of anything else? I think everybody else has returned. Our daycare providers that work in daycare. Most of our retail workers, I think state workers, office workers. Jen or Wendy, anybody else that's not working still?
Thunder Valley just went back to work. I believe it was June 8th, so they're all back. Yeah, that's everybody on my caseload's back to work, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We have a lot of employees out at the airport, and because the airport was so slow, some of them may not have been working, but I think they're all back to work now too. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to launch a poll. So if you can just answer the question, let's see if I can get this to work, and then we'll continue talking in just a minute. So I'm going to read what the first question is. It says, did you learn something about the importance of, oh, and I didn't update my question, but just pretend like it says the importance of competitive integrated employment and working in the community. So just pretend like that's what the question says, okay? And it's a yes, no answer, sorry. I'm gonna launch it right now. So just pretend like the question says, did you learn something today about employment in the community? And the second question is, are you satisfied with this activity? Can you all see both the questions?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And
Yes.
yeah, again, I'm sorry, the question was from last week, but we'll pretend like it's for this week. Still figuring all this Zoom stuff out.
That's great that you knew how to do that. That's really cool.
I'm working, obviously I need to figure out how to change it week to week. Okay, we've got about 25 people who have answered, a couple more maybe. I know it's hard to do on the phone sometimes, but just wait a couple more seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and I'm going to share the results.
Impressive.
There we go. And if there's something that somebody wants to learn or to discuss or ask that we didn't address today, please feel free to ask now. We've got a few more minutes. I'm going to take a little snapshot of this, and then, but please feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question.
I'll ask my question.
Sure.
I want to know, do you work with clients who want to work for the state or federal government?
That's a great question, Lisa. We work with anybody that wants to work and then develop, and through Alta Regional counselors and Department of Rehab counselors, develop that plan and goal. So it's always good to have, again, different ideas. If I were going to get a job today, I would not want to limit myself on just a few kinds of jobs, but I definitely want to have a variety so I get hired. We do work with people that want state and federal, and it's a little bit harder, but right now the state has hired, I think there were about 4,500 extra jobs in the Employment Development Department for all these unemployment forms that they're processing. So we've had several hires of people that wanted to work through the state, which had been challenging in the past because there's so many new office jobs for those people that are filing unemployment during this time. So that was a real yay bonus benefit to people that got hired through the state.
I don't know if you saw it, but I also did a webinar recently, and I also said that I want to work for an independent living center.
Nice. Very nice.
So check it out whenever you have a free moment.
Thanks, Lisa.
I think Lisa's got the whole community looking for the perfect job for her. We got to find you the right job, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. I had a question.
Yeah.
This is Lance. I was just wondering how you guys manage the relationship between the agency and employers. And do employers always know that the individuals that are seeking jobs are coming through a supported employment agency, or is it sometimes invisible to them?
Can you repeat that, Lance? I was answering Cindy's question. Can you repeat that, Lance?
Sure. I was just asking about how you guys manage the relationship between you and the employer. And when someone comes through your agency and they get a job, does the employer always know that they're coming through and a supported employment agency, or is it sometimes invisible to them?
That is a great question. That is completely up to you guys, to you who are looking for jobs. If you want to share that you have a disability, or you share you're working with Pride or another vendor that is working with you, it is completely up to you. We will never come to your job site unless you've shared with your employer that you're somebody who is working with a job coach or needs assistance, and we've helped you. It's always going to be up to you. We do suggest that if you need an accommodation, you have a disability that you want to have your employer know, such as maybe you have a learning disability and you learn better by somebody showing you what to do than reading a list, and you want to share that with your employer, and you want to share that you have a job coach, that is absolutely fine. But we don't just automatically contact an employer unless you would like us to. So we do work with people that we help behind the scenes with their job search, but maybe their employer doesn't know because they haven't needed to share that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And Heidi says she never knew that her employer never knew that she had a disability, is what she says.
Mm-hmm. And until you wanted to introduce your job coach because you wanted help on the job. And that, but it was a couple months after you started. We just kind of worked behind the scenes with you.
They never knew I had you guys involved or anything. They never knew I had a disability or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I kept it to myself, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Until I introduced Diane and told them about you guys and gave your cards to them.
Yeah, that's a choice that everybody has.
Yeah.
Lance, did you have a follow-up question, or did you get your question answered?
No, I think that was good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions from a parent or anyone else who wants to ask a question? Or if there's a service coordinator or Cindy or Catherine who want to talk about the process, because we did just have a question about someone interested in a summer job, and I suggested they talk to their service coordinator. Do either of you or another service coordinator want to say what that process is like when you have somebody interested in finding work? Anyone from Alta willing to not be shy?
Sorry, I was busy responding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the best bet would be to have a planning team discussion and include the service coordinator in the process so that the service coordinator can understand the situation and also the needs and the desires of the individuals to help set it up. And keep in mind, we have the paid internship program now too. So that is also another option that the individual can access.
Can you give a 30-second summary of what that is? 1 minute?
Sure. So the paid internship program is a program through Department of Developmental Services, and we received about $15 million throughout the state of California to help individuals, get their foot in the door through different ways of employment. So there's traditional, there's micro enterprise, there's self-employment, and it covers up to $10,400 per internship year for each individual. And the goal of that is for the individual to obtain employment after the internship is done, either with the same employer or take the skills and apply that to another agency similar to what they did the internship in. So that's the internship in the nutshell. So it's up to $10,400. It covers wages and any employee-related costs.
Thank you. And just to add that there are I don't know how many. Cindy, do you know how many agencies, or Catherine, in Sacramento that do supported employment and help people find jobs in the community? I know it's at least 3 or 4 or 5. I'm not sure the exact number.
We have a lot in the Sacramento region. If you're talking about just when you say supporting employment, we have groups and we also have individual. A lot of some of our agencies are moving away from the groups and they're doing more individualized placements, utilizing the paid internship, and then they're also utilizing Taylor Day service to provide supports and training. So we have, on top of my head, approximately 10 service providers in this region that does that.
Mm-hmm. So the best thing is for anyone interested in working and having that as a goal in their IPP, their individual program plan, just to bring it to the team and talk about it at your IPP, or if you want to call an IPP early, to add that on. But the referral process is through the service coordinator and the planning team. Is that what you were saying?
Correct.
Hi, this is Catherine. I'd like to just jump in with another thought as well for people who are considering employment. As the world is changing and traditional employment opportunities are also changing, right? Maybe there are new opportunities, maybe some things we would have looked at before aren't available, like movie theaters, right? Take a look at micro enterprise options or starting your own business. There are a lot of things that you can do from home. You can make soap and sell it at a farmer's market. You can sell things online. You can start a service for other people, and you can have regional center funded supports to assist you with that. So it's a great time to get creative. Think about what you enjoy, what you like to do, what kind of support you might need to help you along the way, and it might be a really great option for you.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm just writing that word down in the chat box. And so there are supports that folks can get through the regional center to help you to develop your own job and have your own skill, your own interest, that you want to have your own business and offering that in the community. And that's called micro enterprise. Yeah, that's another great option.
And you know what, Sonia, now is a great time to take a look at the community and what is needed in the community right now. I mean, we're talking about, the visual masks being in high demand. And what about storage bags for people to put these masks in so that, they stay sanitized. So, as more and more people are required to wear masks wherever they go, having something like these pouches to put the mask in, isn't that a great idea? People can just hook it to their pants, put it in their purse. So what a great way for someone that knows how to sew to start their own business making these little pouches.
Great idea, Cindy. Are you going to quit your job and do that? Or I know you do that in addition to your job.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, great idea. There's lots of great ideas. I know some people who do micro businesses, they make salsa or they do art and make cards and bags and other items that they can sell from that. They do shredding. All sorts of micro business ideas that or people are already doing in our region. So that's a great option. Well, again, I want to just circle back and thank Caryl and thank everyone else who participated, the job coaches, Department of Rehab, thanks for being on, and Skyler and Heidi, and who am I leaving off? Lorena, for sharing about your jobs. I appreciate Caryl inviting you onto this call and for you being here. Everyone stay safe. I wanted to remind you that we do these every Tuesday, and if you think of a topic or a guest that you think would be great for leading a discussion on another week, please always, I'm open to suggestions. Next week, we will be having Deirdre Fitzgerald with Achievement by Designs, and she's going to be talking about practical solutions for sleeping and waking routines and challenges, especially during the time of COVID, when a lot of our routines have been disrupted and interrupted, and not going to school, not going to work, things have changed. So she's going to really focus on behavioral aspects and some practical tips about how to help our family members or ourselves to have a routine and help with sleeping and scheduling. And so each Zoom chat you do have to register individually for. If you don't have the flyer where I list all of the weekly chats, please just send me an email, and I will type my email in here real quick. And there we go. So feel free to send me an email and I'll get that flyer out to you. Thank you everyone for joining. Stay safe out there, stay cool, and we hope we can see you at a future Zoom chat. Again, in a day or two, we'll have this up on YouTube, so then you can share it with anyone else who missed this chat today. So thank you so much, Caryl, and everyone who joined us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.